Welcome to Contemporary Professional Practice, Mental Health Nursing. My name's Robyn Bowcock and I'm the Unit Coordinator for this semester. I'd like to give a brief overview of who I am and where I come from. I have been working for Western Sydney for about 5 to 6 years now. I've been running this unit for over 12 months. Been involved in undergraduate teaching for mental health nursing, obviously, leadership and campus coordination. Clinically, I've been a mental health nurse probably for a long time, like many of you. I have worked in acute inpatient units, early intervention teams, crisis teams, recovery or rehab. I was fortunate to be a clinical nurse consultant for about 8-9 years, and within that capacity also was seconded to nursing and midwifery office as a project officer, worked in consultation liaison, did project work for seclusion and restraint, was a quality systems manager for several years, was even a pharmaceutical rep thrown in there for a couple of years as well. So like many of you, my career has been fairly broad and currently resides within academia, which I find thoroughly rewarding, particularly as it helps in many ways our future nurses coming on board, and hopefully they have a passion for mental health nursing like many of us do. If we look at the unit for this semester, many of you will have your priority concerns being around the assessment task. So what I would like to do is go through the learning guide with you. So I will click that on so I can share that with the screen, and I'll go through that. Not all of it, but I'll go through most of it with you and hopefully alleviate some of your concerns there. So when we look through the document, there's lots of information that is there. Your priority concerns are going to be fundamentally about the assessment task, but I'd like to draw attention to contact details. So here you can see my phone number and my email address. I would mainly recommend that you contact me via email. I do have undergraduate commitments and other commitments as well, so there might be a time that you try to ring me and I can't get back to you at that point. So if you give me an email, either we can communicate that way or we can arrange a time to talk on the phone, organise face-to-face. Whatever works for you, I'm happy to fit in with as best as possible. So there's the contact details for that. If for some reason I'm not available and it's urgent, Dr. Daniel Nichols is the academic course advisor. You have his contact details here as well as his email address. As we scroll through this document, you can see learning outcomes, how you engage with the unit. You'll see that you've got your assessment summary here, and the key points here is that you have 2 assignments. Both of them are of equal value, and they have a 2,500 word count. First one is due on Monday the 3rd of April by close of business. The second one is due Monday the 22nd of May by close of business. When we're looking at the first particular assessment task, it's mental health service policy and planning. So obviously we're going to be looking at a particular policy and applying it to clinical practice. This, I think, is quite a challenge for many nurses because often we are very focused on the clinical side of things and we leave the policy aspect to our managers or more senior hierarchy. And this is actually making us accountable for how do we put that into our practice and make it meaningful for both our clinical care and our consumers. The main document that we're looking at or have looked at in past years is the 4th National Mental Health Plan, and I've been a little frustrated because it's obviously out of date because it's meant to be between 2009 and 2014. Unfortunately, it's still the one that's current online. However, there is a draft document that is also available. So what I thought would be pertinent for you is that you have the choice of choosing either the 4th National Mental Health Plan, or you can choose the 5th National Mental Health Plan. And the aim for this particular document is you either choose, the options are that you choose one of the principles from the 4th National Mental Health Plan, of which there are 8, or you choose one of the priorities from the draft 5th National Mental Health Plan, of which there are 7. I'll go back here. So what you need to do, your task, is that you choose one of those options and you discuss this particular priority or principle in reference to both literature and application to your own service area or clinical practice. This discussion is critical. You need to be saying, does it work well? Are we able to apply it? If it's something that we can't apply, why is that so? Is there a problem with the actual policy, or is there a problem with application of the policy? Is it at a local level? There could be a whole lot of reasons that sit behind that. Further to that, within this particular assessment task, we're wanting you to discuss with your peers on this course through the discussion forum aspects of this particular unit. And if you go to activity 5.2 within your learning modules, that will pose or give you some questions that you can look at and provide the opportunity for you to reflect on your practice and share those reflections with your peers. The expectation of this task is those reflections will be cited in each, you choose the ones that are most pertinent to your particular essay and your topics that you're going to choose. So they will be within your assessment tasks. It's a little bit different to normal, but the aim of that is to get you talking about this. When you start talking about principles and priorities and how it applies to where you're working and how you practice, it actually gets you to be more critical. Now, that doesn't mean that you're being anti the idea. It's getting you to really think about, how does this impact on the service we provide? Is this something that helps improve the outcomes for our consumers? And that's the purpose of us as future leaders in understanding these concepts. It's not just about doing things for the sake of it. It is about how can we provide appropriate and pertinent care, particularly when we're becoming more and more person-centred for the consumer. It's not just about what we think is right. We need to be very on par with what is right for their care and where they want to go. This is the first document. This is the first assessment task. The second assessment is ethical, legal and professional issues that impact clinical practice. This particular essay is more theory-driven. So it is about you looking at the literature and applying it, or applying your understanding of the literature to your assignment. Generally speaking, this would be a third person and as I said, more academic in nature. It's a little bit more straightforward, and I don't think you will have too much problems in overcoming this particular assessment task. If we continue scrolling through, sometimes some of the easy marks come about because you just follow the format. Make certain you use the length that is ascribed. So you're only allowed 10% under or 10% over of the 2,500 words. Double space, you can either use Arial or Times New Roman, 12 point. This makes it easier for the marker. It also makes it easier for comments to be written that you can take on board and learn from. Your feedback on your assessment tasks is also part of your learning. We've provided teaching and learning activities. We've given you a bit of an overview of how you can space out your learning. You're all very busy. Many of you are working full-time and have families. So to sort of allocate a bit of your learning each week will make this a more manageable task. And this is a framework in which you can probably address these pertinent points. I'd like to draw attention to literacy and numeracy resources. We do have professional communications and academic literature team on each of our campuses, and you are able to access those services. If English is not your first language, you may struggle writing academic papers. If this is the first time you've started doing this kind of work, you may struggle with referencing lists, etc. These teams and these professional staff are valuable, and they're really worthwhile accessing, and they can make a big difference to your essay writing. So please access them and utilise the resources that are available for you. We use the APA referencing style guide. You can access that from here, and that will give you a guide as to how you should do your citations and your referencing. You're quite capable of reading the rest of this information. I do not need to draw your attention to it from this point of view. My main issue is that I hope you find this interesting. It'll give you a different perspective on your clinical practice, and certainly will help you with your future career and where you aim to go, because leaders do need to have an understanding of these factors. They, in fact, are the drivers of this in many ways. I hope that I can be of service to you. Please feel free to contact me. Don't leave it to the last minute. We can organise times where we can sit down and have a chat over the phone, face to face. I am aware that some of you are interstate or a long distance away. I'm happy to make the phone call. You give me your contact details and I'll make the call. I wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to hearing from you. Best wishes.